Good morning, beloveds. You will bear with me today, please. One of my friends is already in surgery, and my father goes into surgery sometime today. Not sure when. I've just texted my brother to find out. And I think that the title today is pretty interesting. In Beyond Appearances, and we've had this title before, so I'm assuming this is a different author and possibly a slightly different take. Well, it's definitely a different take on it, but we'll see. Because it is December 19th. The title is Guidance. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. And that is Isaiah 65:24. The second quote is, there is a reciprocal action between the universal and the individual mind. The Spirit is ready to help us whenever we turn to it. That is the Science of Mind, page 460. While more and more people today are waking up to the truth of their spiritual nature and turning within themselves for wisdom and guidance, seeking assistance in meeting the day-to-day challenges of being alive, many others continue to look exclusively outside of themselves for the answers to life's questions. The German writer-philosopher Friedrich Schiller said, as soon as you trust yourself, you will learn to live. Trusting ourselves means listening to and trusting the voice within, the voice of God speaking through us. But to listen to and trust this voice, we must first become aware of it and recognize its great value in our life. Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us that as we recognize the divine presence indwelling us, the wisdom, the love, the power of God itself is ours to use. There is nothing wrong with seeking outside help with our problems, but let us remember that we are spiritual beings, God's children, and that if we are willing to be still and listen for it, divine guidance is only a breath away. I know the Spirit of God within me is aware of my every need, and I am thankful for this wondrous indwelling presence. I become still and listen for the still small voice. That is J.A. Jean Anderson. I appreciate that she said towards the end of it, because it's short, that it's okay to ask for help outside. And I will also say that frequently when we listen to the still small voice will guide us to outside help. But it will guide us to better outside help than we might pick ourselves without listening to that still small voice. When you are choosing help, we talk about gut instinct, and that's part of what that still small voice is. When you are looking for somebody to help you with something that materially, physically that you need, trust your gut. When you are interviewing people, do your due diligence, look them up, do all of that stuff, check their certifications or whatever else you need. But also when you meet the people, how do you feel when you're in their presence? Because that's that still small voice, and there's lots of ways that we can get that guidance. Oftentimes when we are getting ready to embark on something, one of the best things that we can do is to settle ourselves into what I will call spiritual practice mode. Be it, are we going to do a meditation, or are we going to do a treatment, or are we going to do both? Because it never hurts to do a treatment and then sit quietly in meditation, because you might get an answer that quick. Maybe not. Maybe you do your treatment and then you go on with your presence, with your activities, and then somewhere else you make time for the meditation. But building in that time every day in your day to do the spiritual practice of treatment or of meditation or of both, or whatever other, spiritual practices that you have, when you build them into your day so that your day is, they're already built in. You've already got them set in your schedule, I guess is the way I want to say it. Then when things happen, You already have that pocket of time built in. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, because things happen unexpectedly. And when things happen unexpectedly, and maybe you can't right there drop everything and go do a meditation or treatment or what have you. If you already have that built into your day, then you can hold yourself until you get to that. Now, obviously things will happen, and maybe in that moment you can drop into treatment, which again is the purpose of doing your spiritual practice every day. Because if you have that practiced groove that you can just drop into that treatment, where you don't need all of the accoutrements, that I'm making up words here. It's like you don't have to have the pillow and the candle and the what have you to go into that meditation space. If you can take that deep breath and get there, then that is the point of spiritual practice. That is why we encourage you to do it absolutely every day. Because when you do it every day, then you can, in those unexpected moments, drop in. All right. So that's why we encourage you to do it every day. But like I said, I encourage you to build in these little points throughout your day where you can pocket in those little spiritual practices and make them short and sweet. And that way they're already built in. So you have that moment where you can check in for this guidance. I've heard Jesse say it more than once. We live our lives inside out, not outside in. And I hope I'm quoting that right. Because what we realize is that we are the everlasting expressing through us into the outside. And so when we live our lives inside out, then we are taking the most real part of ourselves and allowing that to influence the outer part of our lives, rather than allowing the outer part of our lives, which can be a chaotic material mess, to influence the most real part of ourselves. And that's what she's talking about with guidance. It's like, make time in your day to strengthen that connection to your inner guidance. Make time to strengthen the connection to the source of your own being, so that when you are caught in a situation where you need it, you already know how to listen for it. You already know what that still small voice sounds like to you, because nobody can tell you what it sounds like. That's between you and spirit. So you've got to make time. You've got to strengthen that connection. And the point of daily spiritual practice is to strengthen that connection. It is to create that groove. So when things happen, you can drop in. You can drop in. And get what you need in the moment. So, all right, that is my that is my take on Jean Anderson's guidance today. So yeah, she says that, so there's nothing wrong with seeking outside help with our problems, but let us remember that we are spiritual beings, and that if we are willing to be still and listen, divine guidance is only a breath away. So I would suggest to you that the mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to strengthen that connection to your divine guidance, whatever that looks like. All right. I'm going to take a deep breath here. You got your mission, and remind you that, because there's so many ways that you can strengthen that, and any of your spiritual practices will do. So the next one I'm going to suggest, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. That is one of the ways that you can strengthen your connection to the source of your own being. It's also very important in the holiday season. This can be a very chaotic and messy time of the year for a whole lot of people for a whole lot of reasons. And so the practice of doing something loving, doing something kind, doing something compassionate for yourself will absolutely help you be gentle with yourself during this season, and to a degree can guide you through this season. So what does that look like? It can look like taking a deep breath. It can look like taking a nap. It can look like setting your alarm an hour later and letting go of your regularly appointed exercise for a short period of time. Don't give it up completely. I think that's what I've decided based on it's going to be a wet and cold week. I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep and allow my body to rest for a week. This is a decision that I've made. That is a loving, kind, and compassionate decision for myself. Do I let it go beyond a week? That is no longer loving, kind, and compassionate. So, you have to make those decisions. That's what it looks like. It also looks like, this loving, kind, and compassion is absolutely about self-care. I am never going to kid you. I'm a big believer in self-care. That was a huge component of ministerial school. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And the holiday season can absolutely empty our cup. And so this loving, kind, and compassionate is very, very important. Self-care is very important. But it's also about making time for joy. Because sometimes it looks like calling a good friend and having a conversation. Sometimes it looks like making a really amazing meal and then engaging all 5 of your senses in one, maybe the creation of it, because if you like to cook, go for it. But it can also look like enjoying that meal. Like if you make really good food that's really amazing, enjoy it. Don't just wolf it down. Which is one of my things. I'm not a foodie. Food is fuel. So I have to make a real effort to enjoy my food. So that is sometimes what loving kindness and compassion looks like. And when I do that, because my husband is a better cook than I am, frequently he is the one making the meal. When I'm not wolfing the food down and actually enjoying it, that's a loving, kind, and compassionate thing for him. So that I can tell him, hey, this is really good. I'm really enjoying this. So, sometimes when you do loving, kind, and compassionate things for yourself, it translates as loving, kind, and compassionate things to other people as well. So make time for that. And that is part of what will create that groove to the source of your own being, the connection, improve the connection so that you are aware of that still small voice. And that still small voice of guidance pops up for you before you even know you need it. That's the point of regular spiritual practice. All right. I'm going to get off my soapbox there. I absolutely have a soapbox about, love, kind, compassion, self-care during the holidays. I absolutely do. And I don't even have trauma around the holidays. I'm just a big believer in it. I think because I've seen so many people, wear themselves out on the holidays. And I'm like, that's why I'm such a big believer in it. I don't wear myself out in the holidays because I've watched other people do it. I'm just, take care of yourself. Okay. But I am a big believer in taking care of yourself. Been there, done that. I have worn myself to nothing. All right. So like I said, I encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. But if you need to take a week off from your physical exercise and rest, then do that. But that doesn't preclude you doing something to engage your mind and your body. It doesn't have to be exercise. It can be other kinds of challenges. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water, especially in the colder weather. In the colder weather, we have a tendency not to drink as much. We tend to get a little dehydrated. So just warm that fluid up, whatever it is that you're drinking, water or, add a little flavor, add a little chocolate. I'm a big believer in hot cocoa. So hydrate. I do encourage you, especially in these days, because I got up this morning and it was raining, by the time we were ready to go for the bike ride, it had started raining. So, we may not see the sun for a couple of days. Artificial light counts. bright light early in your day. It will reset your hormones. You will have more energy during the day. You will sleep better at night. Circadian rhythms are a thing. It's science. You can look it up. And then, as always, in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. I call it a superpower, but it's a superpower that we all come with. Because as soon as, when we make that connection to the source of our own being, and we recognize that heaven is a state of mind, heaven is a state of consciousness, it means that we can create it any place we are. And that right there, it's just magical. And it can go a long way to helping you enjoy the holiday season. So, and opening your soul looks a whole lot of different ways. Like I say, I envision it in that the way when I throw windows open and get that cool breeze across during that, those periods in the year that we can do that. That's what I envision it as. I know it's very visual for me, and there's a feeling component to it. But whatever it looks like to you, crack a good book. That could be opening the windows of your soul. Listening to amazing music, that could open the windows of your soul. Or take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. Gratitude will always open your soul. All right, beloveds. Here's the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center. We are Creative Life Spark. I am the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on, so I encourage you to check those out. I had an interesting experience with the social media yesterday in that the iMovie started working again. And I was like, oh, this is so much easier, but it had been so long that I'd forgotten how to use it. So it was a little frustrating. So I got the Sunday service up a lot faster than I usually do because the YouTube editor takes a whole lot more time than the iMovie editor does. But I work very hard on those playlists. I encourage you to avail yourselves of the playlist on both of the YouTube channels. The YouTube channel for the Creative Life Spiritual Center is that, and then mine is the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel. So please check them out. There's good stuff. I've also learned how to make reels, so y'all may be in trouble when I finally have a moment to sit down and go through my pictures. The reels are just fun. Okay. I think, where am I? Oh, I get to the part of the day where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day. I learned yesterday that enchanted means surrounded by song. Enchanted day. So a musical day, a wonder-filled day, a keep everything warm day. If you are facing this cooler weather, a get ready for the cooler weather day. I have 2 more plants that I have to bring in, but they're big pots. So I just want them to get as much sun as possible. They're going in the garage. A take care of yourself day, a stay warm day, a stay dry day, a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day, because that's the word you use when you don't know what other word to use. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough, just as you are. As I have said before and will say again, you are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a godling in whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right, beloveds. I forgot the email. Email info@creativelife.org if you want to know what's going on, including the amazing Christmas Eve service that we are going to have. I have got my marching instructions on dress code. They are encouraging us, or they've told us, these are the colors that you wear on Saturday, and these are the colors that you wear on Sunday. And I'm looking at my closet going, I got that one. I'm not so sure about this one. So, hey. All right. I'm a hot mess, and I love it. When I say that, I don't mean it as a bad thing. I'm a hot mess. You know what? It means I'm warm and things are happening around me, and that's okay. I definitely don't mean it as an insult. Okay. I think this is the part where I remind you, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And to tell you that you are loved, and I will see you next time.